Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where I'm gonna admit something here just so you all understand. When I play video games, I have a PS5. I do not have a dedicated video game computer. I use Macs in order to, pay the bills, and I play my video games on the PS5. I just kind of wanted to put that out on the table. I did just beat Assassin's Creed. I will tell you that the new Assassin's Creed, I was sitting there playing it, and that game was so long, I actually beat it, and they didn't realize I beat it. Have you noticed these games nowadays, they get to be so long that by the time you beat them, you don't even realize you're at the end boss. You get done with the boss, and you're like, I wonder what's next? And then like the credit screen goes by, and you're like, oh, that was the end of the game. Anyways. That's the kind of video gamer I am. Anyways, I think this is interesting. I'm not really sure where the hell these numbers fit in. It sounds good. It sounds like China Man good. But China Man might be bad. Who the hell knows? So basically, we have these AI diffusion rules in the U.S. There's this idea that basically China should not be able to access American AI technology unless we need their magnets, and then they can. I get so confused. I get so confused with their foreign policy. Anywho, but since China cannot get their hands on many of the AI systems, AI hardware, AI software that we have, they have started to build their own. And so now they have a new consumer level graphics card that's come out that looks like, I don't know, it's like a generation behind as far as I can tell. China's first high-end gaming GPU, the Lisuan G100, reportedly outperforms NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 4060 and slightly behind the RTX 5060 in new benchmarks. If you actually take a look at the benchmarks, and then you go over to Geekbench, and you take a look at those benchmarks, I'm not sure where the hell this fits in the pack. Honestly, again, these numbers, oh my God. You ever, what was it? The guy with bushy hair. Anyways, I just sit there. I try to watch these, a lot of these tech channels, and they like review video cards. What the hell? It's 20 minutes. People say I talk too long. People say like I'm boring. Oh my God, these videos get millions of views, and I swear it's 20 minutes of spreadsheets. It's 20 minutes of when you play Crysis 3 with this graphics card and this processor, numbers. When you play Crysis 3 with this processor, numbers. It's like, my God. I'll be the first one to admit it. I don't know what YouTubers want. What do YouTube viewers want? Like the best tech channel, what we've been informed, the best tech channel on YouTube is MKBHD. And God bless him, but he talks about bezels. He talks about bezels. I've told you that story before, years ago, right? So my channel was dying. I was trying to figure out how to make my channel successful again. And so I was looking at all these like real tech YouTubers. And oh my God, they would talk about the smartphones, and then they started talking about bezels. And then they were really they were serious about they were serious about these bezels. These bezels are unacceptable, or these bezels show this is a top-notch smartphone. Anyway, I was confused, right? I've been doing technology for like 20 years at that point, building systems, building servers, building server rooms, all that kind of stuff. And these people are so serious about bezels. And so I go and I Google bezels, because it's like, I'm thinking, in the tech world, we use the same word for many things. So I thought like bezel might be like a new word for cache, like L2 cache or L3 cache, or, right, one of these, whatever. Anyway, so I go and I Google. I spend like an hour researching bezel. In order to find out, they're literally just talking about the space between the end of the screen and the frame. They spent 5 minutes. Talking about the space between the edge of the screen and the frame. Oh golly. I guess I'm not a technology professional anymore, because I could not give a crap. Anywho, That's an aside. That's an aside. So there's numbers here. There's numbers here with this new Chinese high-end gaming GPU. As far as I can tell, it looks like it's middle of the pack. As far as an MCSE NT 4.0 can figure it out, it does seem to be a bit of a middle-of-the-road GPU, but it is interesting because it does appear to be a Chinese designed and manufactured, not just the GPU, but the full card itself. Chinese GPU manufacturers have been making massive strides with their solutions, and now they have made a breakthrough in the consumer GPU segment, competing with NVIDIA's mainstream GPUs. This is where I'll say, again, the 4060 and the 5060 are mainstream NVIDIA GPUs, but, you know, also hold your horses. Might not be quite like insanely impressive, but it is interesting to take a look at. Lisuan Technology has reportedly pushed out a consumer GPU that, according to new tests, managed to outperform NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 4060 in OpenCL benchmarks, and coming slightly behind to the latest Blackwell-based GeForce RTX 5060, marking a significant advancement in the realm of gaming GPUs. So on the Geekbench, or the Geekbench score, it came out to 111,290, which, as far as I can tell from modern GPUs, is rather middle of the pack. Paired with AMD's Ryzen 5 7600 processor, the Lisuan G100 consumer GPU scored 111,290 points at OpenCL, higher than NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 4060, and considering that the G100 is yet to hit retail markets, the team appears to be making consistent progress with the GPU's performance. Now what's interesting here is they give you a chart. So many charts. Don't worry, boys and girls. I'm not going to do that many of these videos because these are boring as hell. Anyways, so they give you a chart, but this seems to be really cherry-picked here. So you have the RTX 5080 Ti. They say that gets 139,000. Then the 4060 Ti gets 129,000. And then you come down here to the Lisuan thing that gets 111,000. So when they give you this particular chart, it doesn't look too bad. Look. Oh, look, it's right there. Here's the issue, though. If you go over to Geekbench, and you take a look at their chart, this is their chart, and you have to go pretty far down before you get to like 111,000. Like, you have to go really far down. I'm still scrolling. So basically, once you get down to Lisuan range, with somewhere around here, it says GeForce RTX 2080. So anyways, if you take a look at that's where the Lisuan thing would fall, and all of those would be better as far as I can tell. So again, be careful with the charts. They can be misleading. It's like, look at how well this GPU does compared to these other cherry-picked GPUs. What it means in the real world. But one of the things I really want you to be thinking about, like with these GPUs, and we hear about the whole US versus China thing, one of the curious things to really consider here is what do these charts mean, right? There's a level of functionality. Do Chinese engineers need the literal best GPUs that can possibly be created right now in order to do AI projects, in order to do robotic projects, in order to build missile systems and military systems and all that kind of stuff, right? You know, having a middle-of-the-road GPU that is entirely designed, built, and manufactured in China may be far superior in actual functionality for the Chinese folks than buying something that is technically superior coming from the United States, that at any time their access to those things might be shut off. The other thing to be thinking about with this too is it doesn't look like this uses CUDA. So CUDA is the software that goes along with NVIDIA's GPU architecture. And so if it's middle of the road and you don't have CUDA, there's a question about where this actually falls. In terms of specifications, the test reveals that the Lisuan G100 is equipped with 12 gigs of VRAM, likely GDDR6, 48 CUs, and a maximum frequency of 2000 megahertz. It is previously revealed that the G100 is made of a 6nm silicon, likely coming from SMIC, so it's safe to say that the GPU relies on domestic technologies. So do with that what you will. What I think with this is interesting, as I've talked about before, is there's this whole idea that China, as far as artificial intelligence and GPU is concerned, especially in that hardware realm, is somewhere between a year and a half to 3 years behind us, depending on who you ask. And to be clear, some of the Chinese hardware vendors claim that too. Though I do question why they claim that. Sometimes it's better to claim you're doing worse than people think you are. But the big thing to be considering here with this, right, is a consumer level GPU card that's come out, right? This is now China being able to design and manufacture and possibly be able to scale out the deployment of this technology using entirely native resources. We've seen over the past 20 some odd years how fast China can move when they decide to go in a particular direction, right? So for a long time, they weren't worried about this whole GPU game because they could simply buy the GPUs that they wanted. With the United States, with my country, doing what the hell my country always does, right? This forces them to get into this world. And so even if they are 2 or 3 years behind, one, think about this. We're in 2025. We're in 2025. So when you say 3 years behind, for some reason in my head, I think 2010. Like, they're 3 years behind. Wow, they're all the way back in 2010 technology. Yeah, 3 years ago isn't 2010 technology. 3 years ago is 2022 technology. Look at all the computer systems. Look at the computer systems and the servers and everything else in your environment. How many of those systems are 2022 or older and are doing fine? Right? So when you think that they're at like maybe the 2 or 3 year old technology and that they're accelerating, it becomes an interesting question to think about. Where will they be in another 2 years? Where will they be in 5 years? If we as the United States are able to try to kneecap them now, we might be able to slow them down for a couple of years, but it seems like by 2030, they are going to win the game. And then what does that start to look like? I don't know. It'll be a curious question, right? So many times we talk about GPUs, it's all about Huawei. I think it's their Ascend series, right? We talk about Huawei and that type of deal. Talking about for artificial intelligence, machine learning, that type of thing. What's interesting here is to see it starting to come down into the consumer world, and it'll be curious to see how the deployment into the consumer world changes things. Right? So what do you think about this? What do you think about, was it Linsing? Anyways, this Chinese company actually being able to produce high-end consumer GPUs that they seem to be about ready to start shipping in products. What do you think about these spreadsheets? Trying to figure out where a piece of hardware falls within this whole spreadsheet on whether or not it actually matters to you. What do you think about the whole race between China and the United States? How do you think that's going for America? You think we're winning? Anyways, put your thoughts down below. Give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down, give us a great comment, give us a horrible comment. Remember, it's the modern world of YouTube. All that matters is that interaction. Call me a moron. Call me a moron. Down there. Not in your head. Don't scream at the screen. Call me a moron down there. Anyways, do remember silicondojo.com. I do fireside chats. We have a co-founder and a CTO for an integrations company. He's going to be on. We're going to do a Zoom conversation next week. You can sign up on silicondojo.com to be part of that Zoom conversation. We're going to be talking about how they try to integrate artificial intelligence into their platform and how well that worked out for them. We're also going to have the VP for AI models for IBM. He is going to be on a fireside chat the week after. So if you're interested in those, make sure to go to silicondojo.com, become a member, sign up. And with that, see y'all later.